English Easy Podcast.
Hello, learners. Welcome back to English Easy Podcast, your partner to learning English.
Thanks for having me back.
So what if I told you that relying on your motivation to pass your university exams is actually like the fastest way to fail them?
I mean, it sounds entirely backwards, right?
Completely.
Because from the time we're in primary school, we're just conditioned to think we just need to, get motivated. We treat motivation like it's the actual fuel for the engine.
Right. And I am definitely guilty of that.
Oh, we all are.
I mean, I'll look at a towering stack of campus assignments or, decide I really need to master my intermediate English vocabulary. And I sit there waiting for this magical wave of inspiration to hit me.
And let me guess, it doesn't hit.
No. An hour later, I'm somehow like 4 episodes deep into a streaming binge and the textbook hasn't even moved.
Exactly.
So why does that happen? Because, if you know how important the exam is, why does the motivation just completely evaporate?
Well, it's because we fundamentally misunderstand the biology of motivation. Motivation is not like a personality trait. It's an emotion.
Huh.
And like all emotions, whether it's joy, anger, sadness, it's highly volatile. Your motivation spikes and crashes based on your blood sugar or how many hours of sleep you got, or even, honestly, whether it's raining outside.
Wow, so it's really that fragile.
It is. Discipline, on the other hand, is an action. It's the ability to execute a task regardless of your emotional state.
Right.
So relying on an emotion to get you through a grueling, 4-year university degree is like, well, it's like relying on the weather to be perfectly sunny every single day.
Which is obviously impossible, but my instinct is to say that when I procrastinate, I'm just being lazy.
Yeah.
I think a lot of university students feel that way. We beat ourselves up, we call ourselves lazy, which just makes us feel worse, and then we procrastinate even more.
That guilt cycle is incredibly common, but calling it laziness ignores the neuroscience of what's actually happening in your brain.
Okay, what is happening then?
You aren't lazy. You are experiencing a biological threat response.
A threat response from studying.
Yes. When you set a massive expectation for yourself, like telling yourself you're going to study complex English grammar for 3 hours straight after a full day of lectures, your brain's amygdala sounds an alarm.
The amygdala, that's the part that processes fear, right?
Exactly. The fear and threat center.
Yeah.
It looks at that massive task, perceives it as a severe threat to your physical energy reserves, and literally forces you to freeze to conserve energy.
Oh, wow. Okay, that completely changes the framing.
Right.
So it's an energy conservation mechanism. It's not like a moral failure on my part.
Not at all.
But how do we bypass that alarm system? Because if I have a high-stakes exam coming up, I can't just skip studying to save energy,
You bypass it by shrinking the task until it's so small the amygdala doesn't even register it as a threat.
How small are we talking?
We are talking about tiny microscopic habits. Instead of committing to an hour of English practice when you're already drowning in coursework, you commit to exactly 5 minutes a day.
Just 5 minutes?
Just 5 minutes. You read one single paragraph. Or, you listen to one short audio clip on your commute. Or you learn literally one new word.
Okay, I'm going to have to push back on that a little bit.
Sure.
5 minutes feels entirely useless. If I only study a language for 5 minutes a day, isn't that like, trying to drain a swimming pool with a teaspoon?
I get why you think that.
Yeah, the math just doesn't add up for preparing a university student for a real rigorous exam.
On the surface, you're right, the math doesn't add up. But looking at it as a volume problem misses the hidden mechanism of behavioral psychology.
Which is?
The 5 minutes is not about cramming information into your brain. It's about overcoming the activation energy required to just start.
Oh, I see.
In physics, the hardest part of moving an object is overcoming static friction, getting it to move in the first place. The human brain works the exact same way. Right, the inertia. Exactly. When you study for 5 minutes every single day, without fail, you're shifting your identity. You stop being a student who procrastinates, and you become a disciplined student who studies daily.
So it's really about breaking the paralysis.
Yes.
I can actually see that, because once I actually sit down and open the book, the resistance usually fades anyway.
Right, the hardest part is over.
Yeah. That 5 minutes probably turns into 20 or 30 minutes organically because the starting part is already done.
Precisely. You build momentum, but even if it only stays at 5 minutes, you're still building the neural pathways of a daily habit.
But wait, let's look at the reality of campus life for a second.
Okay.
A 5-minute habit sounds great in a vacuum, But like, my day is pure chaos. I have an 8 a.m. lecture, a group project at noon that goes off the rails, a shift at the campus cafe at 4 p.m.
Yeah, standard student life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if my schedule is constantly shifting, I'm going to forget to do those 5 minutes no matter how easy they are.
And that is the exact breaking point for most students. A tiny habit cannot survive in a chaotic environment without a system.
A system.
Yes, this requires a massive shift in how we view our targets. We have to stop obsessing over the goal and start engineering this system.
Well, how do you define the difference in this context? Because, my goal is to pass my English proficiency exam. Isn't the goal what gives me direction?
A goal gives you direction, yes, but a system is what actually drives the progress.
Okay, break that down for me.
Think of your brain's prefrontal cortex, the logical decision-making part, like a computer's RAM.
Okay.
Every time you have to decide when to study or where to study or what to study, you are opening a new tab in your brain and eating up that RAM.
Right, and eventually the computer just slows down.
Exactly. By the end of the day, it crashes. A system takes a behavior and moves it out of your RAM and into your basal ganglia.
The basal ganglia.
Yeah, that's the part of the brain that handles automatic routines, like brushing your teeth.
So a goal is like the destination on a map, but the system is the actual engine of the car doing the driving.
That is a brilliant way to put it.
Because if I spend all day just staring at the destination, I'm just draining my battery and not moving anywhere.
Exactly. For a busy student, engineering a system means taking that 5-minute English practice and bolting it onto a habit you already do automatically.
Okay, like what?
So you do not wake up and ask, when should I study today? You decide once and for all. Every morning, the moment I step onto the campus bus, my earphones go in and I listen to my English audio lesson.
Oh, I see.
The bus ride is the trigger. You have completely automated your success.
I really love the idea of bolting it to the bus commute. But even with a solid system, the real world is full of derailments.
Sure.
Get on the bus, I go to put my earphones in, and I see a text message from a friend. Or I just feel the urge to scroll social media. How do we protect the system from the environment?
You have to engineer your environment to manipulate a concept called friction. Yeah. Friction is the amount of physical or psychological effort required to perform an action. Right now, most students have this perfectly backwards.
What do you mean backwards?
They have zero friction for their bad habits and really high friction for their good ones.
Okay, give me a real-world example of what that looks like in a dorm room.
Let's say you're trying to study at your desk, but your phone is sitting face up right next to your textbook.
Yeah, classic scenario.
The friction to check social media there is zero. It takes half a second. Meanwhile, because your brain is actively burning energy just trying to ignore the phone.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that makes sense.
To fix this, you increase the friction for the distraction. You put the phone in a drawer or in another room or hand it to a roommate.
Right.
Suddenly checking your phone requires getting up, walking across the room, and opening a drawer.
Out of sight, out of mind. You make the bad choice physically harder to execute.
Exactly.
And I assume we reverse that for the good habits.
Spot on. You remove all friction for the good habit. If you want to study English flashcards in the morning, you place them physically on top of your laptop keyboard the night before.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, you literally cannot open your computer without physically holding the flashcards in your hands.
That's so smart. But what about rewards, though? I know that positive reinforcement is huge for building habits.
It is.
But my concern is if I use, self-bribery to study, telling myself I can watch a TV show after I finish an essay, aren't I just putting the very distraction I'm trying to avoid right back into my schedule?
That's a valid fear.
How do I use rewards without it just triggering a full-on binge?
This comes down to understanding the dopamine loop. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that drives motivation, but here is the secret. Dopamine actually spikes in anticipation of the reward.
Anticipation.
Yes, not during the reward itself. It's the craving that drives the action. So to prevent a binge, the reward has to be strictly contained and clearly bounded.
What does bounded mean in this case?
You don't say, I'll watch TV. You say, I will watch exactly one 20-minute sitcom episode.
Yeah.
And I will only do it at the campus coffee shop.
Ah, so you can't just keep letting the next episode autoplay.
Exactly, because you're forced to pack up and leave when it's over.
That is fascinating. You're containing the reward geographically?
Yes.
But, okay, let's look at a worst-case scenario. Let's say my environment is perfect. The phone is in the drawer. The flashcards are on the keyboard.
Sounds good.
But it's midterms week. It's 8:00 p.m., and my brain is just completely, utterly fried.
Yeah.
No amount of perfectly placed flashcards or dopamine anticipation is going to get me to study complex English grammar at that point.
And that is a very real limitation of human biology. We mentioned earlier that the prefrontal cortex acts like RAM. Well, willpower is the electricity running that RAM.
And it drains over time.
It depletes throughout the entire day. Every single decision you make, what to wear, whether to speak up in a seminar, how to navigate a social conflict, it burns a bit of that willpower.
Right.
So by 8:00 p.m. during exam season, your battery is at 1%.
So it's not a failure of the system. It's just the depleted battery.
Exactly.
Which means if I'm trying to master difficult intermediate English concepts like active speaking practice or heavy vocabulary memorization, I'm setting myself up for failure by leaving it for the evening.
Absolutely. You must align your hardest cognitive work with your highest energy levels. For the vast majority of university students, peak energy is in the first half of the day.
So morning study is best.
You have to aggressively protect those morning hours. Do the heavy lifting when your willpower battery is fully charged. Leave the evening for passive tasks, like organizing your notes for the next day or doing some simple reading.
That makes perfect sense. But I know my own habits. There are days when I wake up, I didn't sleep well, the stress is overwhelming, and my willpower battery is at 0% the moment I open my eyes.
It happens to everyone.
On those days, my internal systems just completely collapse. What is the safety net then?
When the internal battery is dead, you have to plug into an external power bank.
An external power bank.
In the context of discipline, that means leveraging social accountability.
An accountability partner, like a study buddy or a language exchange partner.
Yes, but with very strict parameters. We're heavily social creatures. The psychological weight of not wanting to let someone else down is often much stronger than the desire to keep a promise to ourselves.
Okay, I have to interject here because while a study partner sounds great in theory, in my experience, friends are a massive distraction.
Oh, they definitely can be.
Yeah, if I invite my friend to the library to keep me accountable, there is like a 50% chance we end up talking about campus gossip for 2 hours and then leaving to get coffee.
Right.
How do you prevent the accountability partner from becoming the distraction?
By removing the social element from the actual work period. You have to establish the rules of engagement before you even sit down.
Okay, how does that sound in practice?
You don't just say, let's study together. You agree, we're meeting at desk 4 at 2:00 p.m. We're putting our phones in our backpacks. We will not speak a single word to each other for 45 minutes.
Wow, okay.
You're utilizing their physical presence to anchor you to the desk, not their conversation to entertain you.
You're basically creating mutual silent social pressure.
Exactly.
I like that. It feels highly actionable. Now, speaking of highly actionable, I want to pivot just slightly here because we've been throwing around some pretty dense concepts today: willpower depletion, cognitive RAM, friction. And for our intermediate English learners listening right now, navigating this heavy vocabulary while also trying to absorb the concepts is a serious cognitive load.
It is a massive double duty. You're learning the philosophy of discipline while simultaneously translating it in real time.
Exactly. So I want to pause the theory and look at the actual mechanics of retaining the language we're using today.
Let's do it.
And I'm not going to treat our listeners like children and ask them to just blindly repeat words after me. Let's analyze 5 key vocabulary words from today's discussion: self-discipline, procrastination, momentum, automatic, and reinforcement.
Great choices.
So how does a student actually cement these into their long-term memory without just staring at a list?
The scientific gold standard for language retention is a technique called spaced repetition, combined with immediate contextual application.
Spaced repetition.
Right. When you just stare at a list of words, they sit in your short-term memory, which clears out in a few hours. To move them to long-term memory, you have to force your brain to recall them right at the moment it is about to forget them.
So if I'm a student listening right now, maybe walking across campus, how do I apply that to, say, the word procrastination?
First, you analyze the physical pronunciation. I want you, the listener, to silently mouth the word right now or say it out loud if you're alone. Notice the hard kr sound in the middle. Procrastination. Now, to actually lock it in, you must instantly connect it to your own reality.
Like, don't just memorize the dictionary definition.
Exactly. Instead, tonight, when you're talking to your accountability partner, deliberately force yourself to use the word in a sentence about your own life. Say, my procrastination is really bad when I study in my dorm room.
So you're giving the word a physical anchor in your own reality.
Yes.
Let's do another one. Momentum. The stress is on the middle syllable. Momentum.
Exactly. And the contextual application. Tomorrow, when you complete your 5-minute habit, actively think to yourself, I am building momentum.
Right.
Or write it down in your notes. I built momentum today. By attaching the vocabulary word to a physical action you're performing, the retention rate just skyrockets.
Let's quickly review the last three with that same mindset. We have self-discipline, which is the action of doing the task despite the emotion. We have automatic, when a system moves from the prefrontal cortex to the basal ganglia. And reinforcement, the dopamine anticipation that wires the habit.
Perfect.
I challenge every listener to take these 5 words and consciously insert them into a written assignment or a conversation this week. It forces your brain to actively retrieve the data.
And that active retrieval is the essence of spaced repetition.
Yeah.
You're teaching your brain that these words are vital for survival in your current environment.
This has been incredibly revealing. We've moved from understanding the biology of why we fail to engineering the exact systems to ensure we succeed.
It's all about systems.
Let's distill everything we've unpacked today into a rapid-fire summary.
Okay. First, abandon motivation. It's a fleeting emotion. Second, bypass your brain's threat response by building microscopic 5-minute habits.
Yep.
Third, stop agonizing over goals and start engineering automated daily systems. Fourth, manipulate friction, make bad habits physically difficult and good habits effortlessly easy.
Love that.
Fifth, protect your willpower battery by doing your hardest English studying during your peak morning energy. And finally, use a silent accountability partner as an external power bank.
Which brings us to the ultimate test. We aren't just going to give you this theory and let you walk away.
No, we're not.
We are issuing a direct 7-day discipline challenge to you, the university student listening right now. For the next 7 days, we challenge you to commit to just 5 minutes of focused English practice.
Choose a specific trigger. Say, when I drink my morning coffee, I will review flashcards for exactly 5 minutes. Or when I sit on the bus, I will read 1 page of an English article.
Just keep it incredibly small.
Keep it tiny.
And to make this tangible, we have actually created a weekly checklist. You can find it in the free PDF guide attached to this audio, which also includes the key takeaways, comprehension questions, and grammar exercises we discussed today.
That's going to be a huge help.
Print that checklist out, put it physically on your desk, remember, low friction, and check off that 5-minute box every single day. The goal of this week isn't to become perfectly fluent in 7 days.
Wow.
The goal is to prove to your own brain that you are capable of showing up. You're building the identity of a disciplined learner.
I really want to leave you with one final, slightly provocative thought to mull over.
Ooh, okay. What is it?
Well, we established today that willpower is like a battery that drains throughout the day. But neuroplasticity tells us the brain physically changes based on our actions.
Right.
So if you successfully build an automated system for just this one tiny 5-minute area of your life, if you truly master your English study habit, does that willpower capacity actually expand?
Oh, I see where you're going.
Does conquering those 5 minutes literally rewire your brain, making every other massive challenge you face, from your heavy campus exams to your future career, fundamentally easier to conquer?
That is a profound question. If you can master the 5 minutes, perhaps you really can master the entire machine. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Print out your checklist, embrace the friction, and keep pushing forward. We'll catch you next time.